So yesterday, I got to go sailing because I promised my friend, oh, hold on. Yeah, that's better. Promised my friend Kirk that we would go and I'd crew on his trimaran for our Frostbite series, which is 6 races starting January 1st, basically every Saturday, and Commodore's Cup. But yeah, so January 1st we do our first race, and then every Saturday for 6 we do a series called the Frostbite Regatta, or Frostbite Series. And it's a way to keep us active during the winter, and it's very informal. We don't use any buoys for going around marks or anything. We just use government marks. And it's just a really fun way for a bunch of people to get out and be on a boat and be outside and accomplish that necessary thing where we as humans remember that we're animals and we go outside and play and overcome obstacles, basically is what we're doing. We have to challenge ourselves in many ways. And sailing in the wintertime is a great way to do that. It gets us connected to the world that we're supposed to be in, not what society's created and tells us is real. So, today, my last day of the weekend, I'm on the boat. There's enough wind to possibly go sailing, but it's kind of cold and it's not really a lot of wind, so I won't be missing much. So I've got a bunch of things I need to do, like safety, right? So after looking around the entire cockpit here, I'm trying to find the best place to put things. Like I've got to put this guy. I was thinking like right there, but that's silly because if I'm going to need it, I'm going to need it out there. So that's going to go probably in a hatch down below. And then I was like, well, I can put this guy here, but that's kind of in the way. Put there, but that's kind of in the way. And then I was like, oh, there's a spot right here that's perfect. It's out of the way, and it's easily accessible. And under here, I'm going to put a cooler. Hold that thought. So, under here, we'll go down there in a minute, but that looks like a great place for a cooler, right? This is where the sink used to be. There's no reason for that, so I'm going to make a trash can out of it. But right here, I think, it's a perfect spot for this guy. Easily accessible, out of the way, and should be good to go. So, job number 1, safety. Alright, so this wood right here is really only about that thick. So we need a screw about this long. And we'll need it to go through one of these things to make it all perfect and pretty. And then it'll go through this guy. Oh, it's cold in here, my fingers aren't working. Let's try that again. Alright, so that guy there. Oh, cold fingers, cold fingers! Let's try this way. So that guy there, this little baby screw here. Yeah, and then that's about perfect. That sorted out. There's a little hole right here, and there's a little bump right here underneath. Oh, that right there. Well, this guy goes like that in there, and then this wraps around to hold the canister in place. Don't forget that part, especially if you're going sideways. Alright, great, because now, easily accessible, definitely out of the way. You just pull this little tab right here off, pull this out, ready to blow away some fire. Now I got all this other mess to deal with. Now, unless you're a sailor, you probably don't know what this guy is. But sometimes when the wind's heavy and you're wrapping the jib sheet around a winch in order to give yourself leverage to pull it in, well, sometimes your hand isn't quite strong enough, especially on a day like today where fingers are cold. So you'll need to insert one of these into the winch to give you mechanical advantage, which is the reason we have winches in the first place. Well, this guy, bouncing around in the cockpit, especially on a high wind day, probably not a good idea, so we need to find a way to get this guy in an easily accessible place, but also out of the way. Well, a great way to hang on to it is this guy right here. Now, where will we put it? There's a couple of options, but one seems to stand out the best. Let's check. Initially, I wanted to go right here, but that's the emergency bilge pump that you kind of put a lever in and pump water out if you're taking on water. That is where I'm gonna plug in the solar panel. Here's where the winches are, right? So they need to be accessible there. And what I've come up with is this is probably gonna be best right here. And honestly, this is where it was before, as you can see by the holes. So yeah, I think, I don't know. I can't put it there because those have to open. So that's gonna be in the way. Although, I could put it sideways. That might be a whole different, yeah, that looks actually nice. Let's check that out. Maybe, maybe not. So I pre-drilled with a 5/64 drill. I'm going with the exact same combo of small short screws. So here's my holes, right? And then a little bit of butyl tape on the back of each screw so that when I screw it in, there's no leaks. Let's check that out. And now for the test. So you can see I went with the quick draw method, slight angle there, right? So a little bit of a slight angle, so that it doesn't matter if you're sitting here to reach that one, or here to reach this one, or if I'm single-handing and I'm sitting back there all by myself. This is really easy to grab. It's out of the way. Goes right back in. This is not going to be interfered with, especially if we go in this direction. And you can sit right there and that's not going to be in your way. Or if you're heeling over, you put your foot right there. So, another job down. Well, since we're talking about safety today, this right here, this telescoping boat hook, one of the other really important safety issues that nobody talks about. One thing, if you fall overboard, you got ropes, things like that you can climb onto. Sometimes just having something like this that people can grab onto. This is typically used for grabbing a mooring. If you lose a hat or something overboard, you don't have to lean over and possibly fall in. You can use this to scoop it up. If this is close at hand and somebody needs help, you can also use this. Now, I have a rope in a bag. Hold on. Jiggle, jiggle. All right, I got a rope in a bag. So I can hold on to one side of this and throw it. And then what's going to happen is you can grab onto this if you're really far away. But if you're up close, this is a really good way to go as well. Now I'm thinking about all the ways I can put it. Outside, I have to lift up, reach under, but there's going to be a lot of fenders and things going in there, and I might rip it out. Plus, the openings are only this wide, so then you got to pull it out, go down, go up, and sometimes it's just easier to come down below. So what I'm thinking is right below me, right here, just opposite of the fire extinguisher, is going to be a good spot for this guy. I'll just clip on right there, out of the way, and it fits perfect. So these guys right here, I'm going to test them out. Pretty sure this is what they're for. Yeah. So I'll mount these down here. This just snaps in and then you just pull it out. This guy right here, I think is going to go right next to the fire extinguisher, just below. And I'm toying with a couple of different things. These are actually for your garage to hold things. But then there's these things that wrap around, then you can just hook stuff. I'm pretty sure, because these are too small, And this is what they are, by the way. That's these. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be perfect to hold right down there out of the way. These guys, they're really awesome. I'm sure I'm going to find a use for them, but not right now. So let's get this guy squared away, because efficiency equals safety as well. Because if you can't get to your safety gear, that's just as bad as not having it. Voila, that's now the way. Clamp right out. Boom! So, running in, right? Run, down, grab that guy, go hook something. I know where it's at, it's out of the way, easily accessible to the stuff below still. Let's figure out this paddle. It's got to go somewhere. Nice, clean, out of the way, and efficient. Done. So here we have this, and it goes to that, which is a solar panel, which will plug in right there, and then that will run all the way back to a charge controller, which is right here. And I'll probably put it right there, because the battery will be down there. Well, I'm gonna have to call it a day, so I can get the boat all buttoned up before it gets too dark and too cold. But right there, that's the outlet. Got the wire to that, so the wire is all to it and connected, and comes in right here. And let's see, it's going to come to this guy right here. There's a charge controller, got a little USB on the bottom. And I'm thinking that the best place for it is going to be right about here, so I can see what my battery is. I can plug in things in the USB. It'll be where the battery stuff, all that is. I'll figure it all out. But it'll be easy access to the USB charger and the temperament of the battery. Got the solar panel, got the plug wired on it for plugging in out there, but the battery is still charging, so I think what I'm going to do is, I don't know, maybe take it home and charge it over the week, and then hook it all up next weekend. Well, that's what we do on the weekend. Stuff. And, well, and this is where we do that. I was supposed to go to the property today, but didn't work out. Hope you have a wonderful day.